Today we are going to create something that looks a little bit like this picture here. If I can get it to open. There we go. Okay, so we're going to draw some oranges attached to a stem and maybe add the blossoms to go along with it. The first thing though, you have a choice here, which I wanted to let you know, is that if you want to watch this video along on your iPad along with Procreate, you first just need to go to Google Classroom and open up the video and then move your finger here like lightly at the bottom and then hold your finger down on Procreate and then slide it off to the side. Oops, wrong way. Don't do that. Okay, so let me see if I can do this again. So open up Google Classroom, go to the video, and then hold your finger down on the iPad app, the Procreate app, and drag it over till you see the black bar pop up, and then open it up that way. And then you can slide this over. You can watch the video on this side and do Procreate on this side. Make sure to plug in your earbuds so that you can hear the sound as well. And if you choose to not do that, that's fine. A way to close this is basically slide this over. So you're going to touch it, slide it over, and then that will open up Procreate full screen. All right, so the first thing we need to do is set up our canvas. So we're going to go to the plus sign, and we're going to just use the regular screen size. So tap there. Now, remember, we'd like to name it, okay, before we start drawing it. So go back to the gallery, tap on the name, and just name it Oranges. And hit done. Then open up the canvas. And I like to shrink mine a little bit because I like to see where the edges are in case I'm doing any off the edge type of work. All right, so let's get started. So we are not going to draw with black. This time we're actually going to draw with the actual colors. So the first thing we want to do is to get our brush. And our brush can be found under Inking Syrup. And we're also going to choose orange. And we want a nice color of orange there, about right there. And then it may look a little different on the screen here for you, but it looks mighty orange to me. So then we're going to come and we're going to draw. Oh, that's too big. So I need to decrease the size of the brush, probably to about 25%. And touch there. And make sure to touch it here. And we don't want perfect circles, so you don't want to hold it down, like how we normally do to make a perfect circle. We don't want to do that. And then click and drag the orange there. The next step is that we want to add some textures to the oranges. So we're going to do that by creating another layer. Okay, so we're going to come up here to the layer icon. And we're going to add a layer, and we're actually going to turn on a feature called Clipping Mask. So that's right here. And that's going to keep everything within the circle. Now we could turn on Alpha Lock, but let's just say we wanted to change something major on this layer. We couldn't do it with the Alpha Lock. The Alpha Lock, it kind of stays on the layer that the orange is on. And then we would have to go in and erase, or we'd have to go undo. Whereas if we put it on its own layer with the clipping mask, we can do what we want. And if we don't like it, we can just get rid of the layer. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to choose a lighter color of orange, more like a yellow orange. And that's going to be our highlight color. And we're going to go back to the brushes. And we're going to choose Charcoal's Burnt Tree. Okay. And let me see what it looks like here. I'm going to go a little larger. And then I'm going to go across the top here. Notice I'm going outside the line, but you don't see the yellow on the white part. And I'm not pressing down hard. I'm lightly coloring because the harder you press, the more that's going to be on there. We just want a very light texture. And we want it kind of rounded. So we're going to round like that. And just to be really calm with it. Okay. And then the bottom, we're going to go with another layer. We're going to clip mask that layer as well. But we're going to change the color to more of a little darker orange. So you want to go more towards the red, but not quite red. Let me see how that looks here. Okay, that's good. And I'm just going around the edge of the bottom here. I'm not going to fill in a lot of the orange, just along the edge here. And I might want to press down a little harder down at the bottom part. Just so it kind of pops up off the screen. Awesome. Okay, so the next step is to add we're going to go in and add another layer. And on this layer, we're going to draw the stem. So we're going to go over to the green, and we want it to be not too bright of a green, but a nice neutral. Well, not really neutral. There we go. Okay, so we still should be on the same brush. Oh, we're not. We need to go back to inking and syrup. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to start up here and we're going to come down. So I'm going to start here, and I'm pressing kind of hard with my pencil to make that line thick. And then I'm going to come here and I'm going to draw right beside it. Okay. And just fill that in. And down here, I'm going to lessen the thickness of my pencil, and I'm going to do a little twig right here and one right here, and then one down here, like that. And then I'm going to attach a twig to the actual orange itself. So I'm going to come down, make a little nodule, and I'm going to come down here and make a little nozzle. You know, that's the little navel part of the orange. Now I'm going to draw some leaves. So that's going to be on a different layer. So I'm going to add another layer. And you want to make sure to close the leaves. Even if you put it here and you draw it here to here, if the leaves are not closed, then the color drop is not going to work. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to draw my leaf and close it, leaf and close it, leaf and close it, smaller leaf right here. And I'm going to put a couple of leaves over here. There, maybe one right here. Okay, I don't like how this looks, so I'm going to undo. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to draw a leaf. And another leaf. No. Maybe put a large one here. And one more right there. Now the test will be is did I indeed close it? So we're going to drag that color. And so far so good. And I see a spot right there that I need to clean, so I'm just going to tap my eraser and go and clean that little spot up right there. Okay, so now remember, These are all on different layers. So now I want to add the veins to my leaves. I also am going to want to add a texture to the stem. So maybe let's start with the stem first. Now, what we want to do is we want to add a layer. So tap the layer that the stem is on, add a layer, and then tap clipping mask. Now we're going to put some grooves or some textures in the vine or the stem or the branch, whatever we want to call that. So we're in inking, and we want to grab this one. It's called Thylacine. I'm assuming I'm saying that right, but maybe not. So I'm going to grab that one. Then I'm going to change my green to a darker green. Okay. And make sure that I'm on the layer right above the stem. And I'm going to come in here and press and just add texture to that stem. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to go back and add a lighter color of green and add a little bit of a lighter green. I need to make my brush smaller here. Okay. And just kind of going along and adding a little bit of a highlight here at the top of that there. Okay. Looking good. So now I'm going to go to the leaves, and I'm going to be using the same brush that I've been using, that Thylacine, and I'm going to add a layer above the leaf here. I'm going to turn on my clipping mask, and I'm going to choose a little bit darker green. I want to be on more of the bluish side to it. Okay. Now, the veins in the leaves go in a diagonal towards the center of the leaf. So for this one, I'm going to go like this. Okay, so that's too light. So I need to go a little darker. Now let's see how it works. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to increase the size of my brush a little bit here. All right. And then this one is going to go this way. So I'm going to come across this way. Okay. This one, I'm going to come, let's see, I want it to be darker on this side. So I'm going to come across this way. Darker on this side. So I'm going to come across that way. Darker that way. Okay. Darker under here. And darker under here. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the eraser, and I'm just going to tap it once. Otherwise, it's going to turn to this brush, and I want it to be on the syrup brush that we were on previously. So I'm just going to tap it, and I'm going to bring a line down the middle of each leaf. And see how big that is? That is too big. So we want to decrease the size and bring it down the center of each leaf. Okay. And we're going to erase the side that we're going to put the lighter color on. So I'm assuming my light is like it is here on the stem. It's going to be lighter at the top. So I'm going to erase the top. And I'm going to increase the size of my eraser and go in and erase the top. Okay. And the light's going to be here for this one. So, and the light's going to be on this side for this one. Oops, undo. Love the undo when you need to undo it. Okay. And then the light's going to be up here. and up here. This is going to be the lighter version of this brush here that we're doing here. Okay, so we're going to go back to layers. We're going to add a layer. We're going to turn on clipping mask. Okay, make sure we're still on that thylacine brush. Okay, this time we're going to choose a lighter, more warm color. So we're going to move it towards the yellow a little bit. And then let me see what my brush is here. Okay. So now, instead of going this way with my brush, I'm going to go opposite way. So I'm going to go the opposite direction. And don't worry that you're going over. See how I'm going over it? That's okay. So, I think I went the wrong direction for this one. And I need to do opposite this one. So I think I did the wrong direction, but that's okay. You will get the point. So I'm coming down on this side here. Opposite this side. Okay, so once again, barely tap the eraser, and then you're going to go in and erase the half of the leaf. Oops, too hard on that one. So I pressed down too hard and went down the wrong direction. So let me flip this around and just kind of clip it there. There we go. That looks better. Okay. Wow, that's looking really good. Okay, this looks really pretty. All right, so another step is that we're going to draw the little blossoms that are on the orange stem. So we're going to add another layer. Okay, and this time we're going to choose very light yellow, almost white. And we're going to make sure that we are on inking syrup. And I want to reduce the size of my brush. And I'm going to put one right here. We're going to do it several times here. And then you can color drop it, or you could, because it's closed, you could actually color drop in there. It's not one to color drop because I already colored in it. So I'll just fill that in. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add another little blossom. I think I'm going to maybe come up, maybe right here. All right, so I'm going to draw it large. Okay, and color drop. Okay, so it's kind of dull looking, so we're going to add some details to it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to white. So if you tap twice here on the edge here, you're going to get white. And we're going to reduce our pencil to probably 4 or 5%, and then come in and draw some lines. Now I will enlarge this. I don't know if you can see it, but we're just adding texture lines. just to give it texture. Oh, you know what I forgot to turn on? I forgot to turn on the, and I'm going to undo all of this. I forgot to turn on the clipping mask. Okay, so here, add a layer, tap, clipping mask. Go back to my color. And now I can come in and add these beautiful lines. And if I don't like them, I can remove the layer without destroying the flower. And I'm sorry about you not being able to see it as well. Okay, and I'm going to go to the other one, and I'm going to repeat the process here. Okay, then we're going to add a little grayer color, a little bit of gray, which you should be able to see that show up pretty good. And then just add okay, and close that, and then come to this one and add the gray to this one. And this just gives it like a petal look of a petal of a flower. Gives it texture. Okay, and before I'm finished with that, I'm going to go back to an orangish kind of color, reddish color, and draw the center of the orange. Excuse me, the blossom. Okay, so one more thing we have to do, and we will call it quits for this project, is we need to create a layer or a background for this because it's just kind of floating there. And so we're going to do kind of a neat thing. But before I do that, I want to fix my canvas because it's a little heavy down towards the bottom. So I want to kind of pull that up and then pull that back down and crop it. There we go. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a layer. And then I'm going to tap and pull that layer down all the way below my oranges. So that's going to be kind of a background. And then I'm going to choose, let me see, painting wet acrylic. And I'm going to choose a light blue, something pretty light. And then I'm going to come in and start to add the blue. Now, I have to add a little bit of pressure. And I'm just going around, filling it in with my first layer here. And I'm not filling in the whole page. I'm just kind of going around the drawing. Okay, so I'm going to make my brush a little bit bigger, and I'm going to press down a little harder with my pen, and just notice I'm not filling up the whole page, but I am going around. There we go. Awesome. Now this is finished. So what you want to do now is you want to, of course, you want to share it as a JPEG to your Google Drive and then attach it to the assignment.